Share. No. Okay, can you see the screen now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were solving problems on leaf springs. I think we'll solve one more problem before we go to a combination of leaf and helical springs. Okay. Note down this problem. A laminated leaf spring has an overall length of 1100 mm and has a central load of 160 kilonewton. This spring has 3 full length and 15 graduated leaves with a central band of 100 mm wide. All the leaves have to be stressed to 400 Newton per mm square when fully loaded. Ratio of total spring depth to width is to be approximately to determine these parameters. Okay, solve this problem. I'll give you some maybe 7 minutes time. Solve the problem and get me the answer, all of you. Is the problem visible now also?
Yes,
Is
sir.
the
Now,
screen visible? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all of you please solve the problem. Get me the answer before we go to the next problem. So it's given as overall length L1 is 1100 mm, band of 100 mm. So effective length will be 500 mm. Total number of leaves is 18, 15 plus 3. Central load is 2F is 160 kilonewton. So therefore, F will be 80 kilonewton. Sigma is 400 megapascal. IH by B dash is 2. So determine width and thickness, initial space, that is camber, and bolt load. Young's modulus, if it is required, you can assume it as 206.8 GPa. It was asked in one of the examinations. So let's see. Tirumani Shetty solving the problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Beldar, are you there?
Yes, sir. Solving, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Note down the data, equations, substitution, and then solution. Finished, huh? Solve the problem. Yeah, anybody could get H and B dash?
Sir, H is it 16 mm, sir?
H is 16 mm, correct?
And B
Next,
is
B dash is
144 mm.
144, excellent. Camber,
Yes, sir. 9 point. Yeah. Yes, sir. 9.1 mm.
9.42 mm.
Yes, sir.
And bolt load?
10,256.4 Newton.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. Others, please solve the problem. So you will get, so L is 500 mm. This was asked for 10 marks, okay? So it is so simple. Just use 3 equations, substitute, and then get the answer. Normally in leaf springs, this will be the type of problems that you get. So 2F is 160 kilonewton, so therefore F is 18 to 10 power 3 Newton. Sigma is 400 megapascal, H by B dash is 2. So therefore B dash is equal to 9H. Substitute that 9H into stress equation in place of B dash. Then you automatically will get the value of H. Then B dash is 144. Camber is 9.40 mm. Bolt load is 10,256.4 Newton. Okay. Shall we go to the next problem? Anybody still doing? Meghnath Prasad?
Sir.
Doing completed or what?
Yes, sir. Completed.
Completed, huh? Okay. Shall we go to the next problem then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Please note down this problem. Referring to figure, this is the figure. Referring to figure, okay. Referring to figure, a semi-elliptic leaf spring has an effective length of 1.5 meter. Referring to figure, a semi-elliptic leaf spring has an effective length. Please remember, it is effective length of 1.5 meters. So your L is L1, I mean, for entire length, L1 what he has given is 1500, referring to figure. Okay, this is a sham series problem. So the spring seat midway between shackles, okay, carries a helical spring upon which is imposed an impact equivalent to 1000 Newton meter of energy. Okay. Please note down the problem. Referring to figure, a semi-elliptic leaf spring has an effective length of 1500 mm. The spring seat midway between shackles carries a helical compression spring, helical spring, upon which is imposed an impact, okay, equivalent to 1000 Newton meter of energy. The laminated spring is composed of 10 graduated leaves and 2 extra full-length leaves, each 6.5 mm thick and 50 mm wide. Okay. The coil spring is composed of 6 effective turns of 5 mm wire. The mean coil diameter is the 100 mm, that is capital D. Calculate stress induced in each spring. This is what is given in the problem. Please note down the problem. Don't rush noting down the solution. Don't rush noting down the solution. What is that noise? Somewhere some noise is coming. Please control it. Okay. So referring to figure, a semi-elliptic leaf spring has an effective length of 1500 mm. The spring seat midway between shackles carries a helical spring upon which is imposed an impact equivalent to 1000 Newton meter of energy. The laminated spring is composed of 10 graduated and 2 full-length leaves, and the leaves thickness is 6.5 mm and width, okay, is 50 mm. H is 6.5, B dash is 50 mm. The coil spring is composed of, there is some noise somewhere here. Please, who is that? Please check. Okay, composed of 6 effective turns and 5 millimeter wire. Mean coil diameter is 100 mm. You have to calculate stresses induced. Note down this sketch. Note down this sketch and hold on. Don't do anything other than noting down the problem and the sketch. If you say yes, we'll go further with explanation. Anybody still noting down the problem? Shall we go with the explanation? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the leaf spring, to the center of which is the helical spring is attached, and there is the load that is applied. Impact is applied to helical spring at this, and the total I to I distance of leaf spring, he has given it as 1500 mm. So therefore, our effective length is going to be equal to 750 mm, because he has not talked about central band. So therefore, we ignore the presence of central band. So therefore, your effective length L is going to be equal to 750 mm. Is that okay? Are you there? 1500 divided by 2 will give us 750 mm. First thing. Next, the impact equivalent of energy is 1000 Newton meter. He has given you. So that is the value of U, that is the resilience or energy absorbed U is 1000 Newton meter, that is 1000 into 10 power 3 Newton millimeter. And he says 10 graduated leaves are there and 2 full length leaves are there in the leaf spring. So it amounts to total number of leaves to be equal to 12. And for leaf spring, he has given you the value of H as 6.5 mm, B dash as 50 mm. And for helical spring, mean coil diameter is 100, wire diameter is 5 mm, and number of turns he has given is how many? How many turns?
6, sir.
6. Yeah. Now the total energy that is applied at this point is taken up by both helical spring as well as leaf spring. So both helical spring and leaf spring, they'll deflect because of the impact load that is applied over here. Fine. And he has given you the energy absorbed by the spring set as U is equal to half F into Y. That is, U is given, F we don't know, and deflection, both will deflect. So therefore it can be rewritten as half F of helical spring deflection and leaf spring deflection. Okay. Now coming to helical compression spring deflection, we have Y is equal to 8F d cube I by GD to the power 4 as equation for deflection, correct? This we have learned earlier, correct? So 8F d cube I by GD to the power 4. So substitute all the values. Mean coil diameter is given, I is given, G you can assume it as 82.7 into 10 power 3, and wire diameter has given you is 5. So get helical springs deflection in terms of F. Then come to leaf spring. You have got deflection given by WFL cube by E B dash H cube 2IG plus IF. So substitute the values, get deflection of leaf spring in terms of F. Okay. So substitute the values of YH and YL into the equation of resilience. Then you will get the value of F. Okay, once you get the value of F, substitute in, so it is the F that is over here. So therefore it is to be considered as 2F. So this F is to be used here, but when you find out the stress in leaf spring, you have to divide this F by 2 and then find the stress in leaf spring. But whereas helical spring is subjected to F of 1410.4 Newton. So that you substitute here and get the shear stress induced in helical spring. Could you understand how to solve this problem? Any doubt? Anybody?
No, sir.
Is it okay? Because of application of this load, both helical spring as well as leaf springs are subjected to deflection. So therefore, energy absorbed will be half F into deflection of helical spring and deflection of leaf spring. Accordingly, use both equations for deflections. Get deflections in terms of F. Substitute in resilience equation. Get the value of F. So this F can be used for finding out stress in helical spring. Divide this F by 2. Use it for finding stress in leaf spring. Is that okay? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Solve the problem and get the solution. Get me the value of stresses and also cross check your values with the answers that are there on the screen for you. It is 12 FL cube over here. Okay. That is the effective length. G, you can assume it as 82.7 into 10 power 3 megapascal. Get me the value of stresses in helical spring and leaf springs. Are you solving? Sagar Dutt?
So helical spring stress is 3074.3.
3074, correct? Huh?
Yes, sir.
30?
74.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, correct. Excellent. Okay. And similarly, take F as divided by 2 and get stress in leaf springs. Others, please work out. Gunasagar, Meghanath, Prasad,
Yes, sir. Solving, sir.
Solving.
getting the values?
Sir, in the deflection of the leaf, shouldn't that 2Ig plus 3IF should be 26?
2Ig plus 3IF.
You have written 12 there, so it will be 26, no, sir?
I think 2Ig, that is 20, plus
Plus 6.
Okay.
So
That
the
is,
answer will be 0.0709.
0.0709.
F.
Yeah, if that is the case, please change the answer and check. Okay.
Okay, sir.
HQ. Yeah, I missed out on that. Yeah, there will be variation over here because I missed out on 2Ig plus 3IF. There will be slight variation. This is point, how much? 07?
0709.
Okay. Yeah. 0709. So for that, then F may change a bit, no? What is the value of F you get?
One four 0.56.
Oh, okay. Not much of a variation. 1414.5.
5. Yes, sir.
Okay. So calculate stresses accordingly. K is 1.0702. That is the Wahl's correction factor. What is the stress in leaf spring? How much you're getting?
3084.01.
No, that is okay. Stress in helical spring. But what is the stress in leaf spring?
The same only, sir. 125.54.
125.5. Okay. Fine. Shall we go to the next part of the thing? Surging in springs. Are you all okay? Solve the problem. We'll go to the next part. Okay. Yeah. Are you all there? Are you all there now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Stop writing and please observe. This is one of the helical springs. There is another helical spring picture that I have taken. See, we are trying to understand what is surging in spring. Please note down surging, S-U-R-G-I-N-G. Please note down surging in springs, S-U-R-G-I-N-G. Surging in springs. Okay, so please observe here. This is one of the helical springs. What will happen is normally in case of valve springs, they are subjected to variable loads. Okay, so that is and variable impact loads. So load is applied at this. What will happen is because of this variable impact loads, the first coil will deflect first. Okay, and then what will happen? That deflection will be translated one by the other like a waveform to next coil to next coil and to next coil. Because of the repeated application of load, what will happen is the wave will keep traveling and there's going to be reaction that's coming in the opposite direction. If the time of application of load becomes equal to the wave travel, then what will happen is resonance is going to occur in the springs, right? When there's going to be variable application of load, and then the deflection will be transformed more, it's taken up by the first coil, and then slowly it will be transferred to the subsequent coils. Because of resonance that is going to occur between time of load application and the wave travel, okay, so there is going to be a surge that is taking place in springs which will lead to failure of springs. Such a process or phenomenon is called surging in springs. That is again the same explanation I have given here. When one end of helical spring is resting and suddenly loaded suddenly, then all the coils will not deflect equally, and there is going to be some time required for propagation of stress along the spring wire. So what will happen is a wave of compression propagates through the coils to the supported end, from where it is reflected back. This is very important, okay? Reflected back to the deflected end. This wave of compression travels along the spring indefinitely, and if the applied load is fluctuating or variable type, as in case of valve spring especially, okay, if the time interval between the load application is equal to time required for the wave to travel from one end to other end, then resonance will occur. Okay, this results in the induction of very high stresses which lead to failure of springs. This phenomenon is called the surge in springs. So how we can eliminate? We can eliminate this by using friction dampers or using springs of high natural frequency. That is, you eliminate the natural frequency from going into resonance. That is, change the natural frequency of the spring. You can avoid resonance, thereby you can avoid failure because of resonance. Is that okay? This phenomenon is called the surging in springs. So again, what will happen is, so a typical example is valve spring of an engine where load is applied, variable amplitude load is applied, and all the load is taken up by first coil, because the deflection does not travel continuously. So one after the other, the wave will be transferred to different coils of a spring, and then from the support there is going to be reflection back of these loads. Okay, so if the time of application of load becomes equal to the traveling of these waves, then the resonance will occur, which will lead to failure of springs. So this process is called surging, and therefore to avoid surging we can use friction dampers. That is, the dampers will offer a resistance for the vibrations that are occurring. So that is the function of a damper. So it can be in the form of rubber pads or other aspects, right? Or you can use a viscous fluid to absorb the vibrations. So we can eliminate surging with the application of friction dampers, and also we can build springs such that its natural frequency is different from the resonant frequency. Is that okay? This is what is called as surging of springs. Okay. Next you take down. Next is Belleville springs. Please note down Belleville, Belleville springs. So with that, we will come to the end of leaf springs. Okay, with surging of springs, we will come to the end of topic on leaf springs. Next, note down Belleville springs they are in general called as washers. Please note down Belleville springs, Belleville, Belleville springs. This is how it looks like. Have you noted down the title?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So how a Belleville spring looks like is essentially it's like a coned disc spring, okay, which will be in the form of a cone, right? So when do they use such washers, Belleville washers? Is that when you have to have a spring in a very limited space and application of load is more, where load absorption should be more in a limited space, then people will use Belleville springs, or in general they are called as washers. Is that okay? So you will have cone disc or washer will be something like this. Okay, you will have inner circle and you will have outer circle, and it will be bolted in this direction to absorb more and more energy or load. Now then you can have multiple washers or multiple Belleville springs can be used, and they can be arranged in series, or in parallel, or it can be arranged in series. Okay, so what will happen when it is arranged in parallel is that it is used for increased load, whereas stacking in series will have increased deflection. So depending upon the type of application, we can have various configurations of Belleville washers or Belleville springs. You got what it is? So compared to coiled spring, Belleville spring is much smaller and can bear much larger load relative to its deflection rate. Okay, this is what is the introduction that we need for Belleville springs. That is, it can take up much larger load in a limited space, and it can be stacked in parallel, and it can be stacked in series. When it is stacked in parallel like this, so it can take up more and more load. When it is stacked in series, it will have more and more deflection. Are you there? Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, note down these three sentences. Note down in your notebook these three sentences. Please note down. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Note down these three sentences and these sketches also. These sketches. This is parallel arrangement. This is series arrangement. There are some special applications where they will have combination of series and parallel arrangement of washers. Please note down this. The last coil also undergoes same reflection as the topmost coil due to normal force applied by the ground. Okay. Yeah, Gautam Krishna. Basically, what will happen is the deflection will be transferred. All the things will happen in a fraction of a second. Okay. So when you have first coil, it will deflect and there's going to be some time lag till the deflection is transferred back to the last coil. And then this last coil will start vibrating and reflect the waves back. Okay. So thereby surging takes place. So that is entire spring is subjected to a sort of vibration. So when natural frequency of spring becomes equal to the waveform, that is vibration that is cleared, I mean that is generated because of sudden application, then resonance will occur. That's the simplest of explanation.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Then, sir, which combination is better, parallel or series?
Yeah, it depends upon the type of application. Okay. If it is okay, if you have to take up more load, then you go for parallel arrangement. Okay. If the load taken is less, but you can allow it for more deflection, then they go for series application. It all depends upon designer's choice and the type of application.
Okay, fine, sir.
But normally it is in my 10-12 years of practical experience, I have not seen such stacking of washers. Normally they use one washer and they may use sometimes this lock nut type washer, okay, which is a broken, I mean, which is open at both ends and which will be have a little lifting, okay. So such type of locking washers they use for taking up more and more load.
Okay, fine, sir.
Yeah. Noted down. Shall we go to the next slide? Shall we go to the next slide? Anybody noting down still? Okay. Yeah. Now, please note down the sketch. Note down the sketch of washer. This is height of dish, DI, DO. This is the thickness of the plate T that is used for making the washer, to manufacture the washer or belly spring. So thickness of sheet used is T. DI is inside diameter of the spring. DO is outside diameter of the spring. T is the thickness of plate. H is free height of spring, and F is going to be axial force. Y is called deflection. Nu is Poisson's ratio, and E is Young's modulus. Note down the sketch and note down the descriptions: DI, DO, TH, axial force, axial deflection, Poisson's ratio, and Young's modulus. Note down the description also. di is inside diameter, do is outside diameter of spring, T is equal to thickness, H is equal to free height of spring, F is equal to axial force, Y is axial deflection when load is applied, nu is Poisson's ratio, and E is Young's modulus. Noted down? Nirav, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Note down these equations for load applied. That is relation between load F and axial deflection Y of each disk. Maximum stress at inner edge, stress at outer edge. Note down these equations. 4EY divided by 1 minus Poisson square into M into dO square. This is H minus Y into H minus Y by 2 of T plus T cube. T is the thickness of the plate that is used for manufacturing the belly belly spring. C1 and C2 here. C1, C2 and M are constants depending upon the ratio of DO to DI. Okay. Note down these three equations.
Sir, the last equation is not clear, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the last equation is not clear, sir. So can you move the screen a bit down, sir?
Moving the screen. Let me check. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, noted down all the equations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what you do you have data handbooks with you?
Yes, sir.
Just open and go to figure 11.7. Maybe the 11.7 may be slightly different. You can use that figure to find out the values of M, C1 and C2 depending upon the ratio of DO to DI. Just those who have got data handbook, please open and check if there is a figure and let me know the figure number for the benefit of others. And these equations are available in data handbook. Maybe the chapter number is same, but these equation numbers may be slightly different. So please check if the equation, if there's any variation. Okay. Yeah. Have you opened the data handbook? Anybody? Okay, anyway, have you noted down all the equations, all others? Anybody needing time? Gunasagar, Rasik Baran,
Yes, sir. Noted, sir.
noted down all the equations?
Yes, sir. All the three.
Okay, okay. Then what we'll do, okay, so 37 of them are there. Okay, so Ankesh Aman, you are able to understand what is Belleville Springs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Basuraj Outiger, Gautam, Sai?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So now, Niharika, are you okay with Belleville Springs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Then we'll close it for today. Saturday, we'll solve problems on Belleville Springs. Please now go through those equations and then we'll solve problems on Belleville Springs. Is that okay? Fine?
Yes, sir.
Fine, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and those from 1 to 24, you come at 3:05 for proctor meeting. Okay, with me. Right? Okay then.
Okay,
Fine.
sir.
Bye.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.